Video Sports, only on Fox 47 News at 10.
Two Spartan seniors started their final game at McLean Stadium today. Eli Boyke and Bo Feld, along with the rest of the Spartans, looking for a sweep of the Indiana Hoosiers. But for the third straight game, Indiana took an early lead, scoring 4 runs in the first, but the Spartans with an immediate response. Jeff Holm with 2 RBIs here, cutting the Hoosier lead in half in the bottom half of the first. Then the senior, Boyke, playing in his final game, delivers this single to left that's going to score another, and just like that, it's a 4-3 ball game. Brandon Eckerly leads the Spartans in hits this season. He delivered another big one right there. The single into right's going to tie the score, but Boyke is thrown out trying to stretch this one from first to third, and that kind of shut down the rally from there. We go to the 5th, where the Hoosiers led by 1 when Josh Lyon drills this pitch deep into right and into the red cedar. That 3-run homer makes it an 8-4 Indiana lead. Ryan Jones, coming off that cycle yesterday, delivers here in the 6th with the hit. With the bases loaded, that's going to score a pair, and it's a 2-run game once again. He was 3 for 5 on the afternoon. The Hoosiers, though, stretch the lead back to 4 in the 7th. Brian Lambert goes the other way down the right field line. Michael Early comes around to score, and then Brian Ritz is going to be able to beat Jones's relay, and Indiana once again has a 4-run advantage. Holm, a double short of the cycle himself. Here's the dinger, a solo shot in the 7th. That's as close as the Spartans would get. They fall 10-7, leaving them in a 4-way tie for 5th in the Big Ten standings with just 3 conference games to go.
Yeah, it's an okay weekend. It's a disappointing way to end it for sure. And, you know, you like to send your seniors out, you know, on a high note too, and got a chance to sweep the series. But at the same time, you know, we won the series and got ourselves really back in the hunt. And we'll need to play well next weekend. But, yeah, we're disappointed today.
Yeah, definitely just a good weekend. We'd like to have 3, but we let one slip away today. But give credit to Indiana. They capitalized on our mistakes early in the ballgame.
Every weekend you go into, you're trying to win a series, and you know we accomplished that this weekend. You know we thought we had a chance to get a sweep and move up in the standings, but you know we'll take a win in the series.
Last night, the Tigers came from 5 runs behind to beat the Red Sox in 12 innings as Ramon Santiago drew a bases-loaded walk. The team also made some roster moves after the game. Max Scherzer and Scott Sizemore sent down to AAA, while Danny Worth and Armando Galarraga were recalled from Toledo. Galarraga getting the nod today on the bump in the rubber game of the series with Boston. First big league at bat came with the bases loaded in the 2nd. He chops to first. The throw to John Lackey, and he can't find the bag, doing a little tiptoe routine there. That's an RBI. Tigers lead at 1-0. That play seemed to get the Boston starter in a little bit of a funk. He walked the next hitter, Johnny Damon. The Tigers take a 2-run lead, and Lackey lucky to stay in the game after he gave the home plate umpire a piece of his mind. To the 3rd, Brandon Inge with runners at the corners. How about the play there by Marco Scudero? Nearly turns a double play, but the Tigers are able to score to make it 3-1. To the 4th now, light-hitting Ramon Santiago hits the only home run of the day, a 2-run shot into right, his first of the season. That would be all the scoring the Tigers would need. They win it 5-1 to take 2 of 3 from the Red Sox, but Detroit still trails Minnesota by a 1.5 games in the Central. As the Stanley Cup playoffs are down now to the Final 4, there's just one former Spartan still with a chance to sip from Lord Stanley's Cup. That's Chicago defenseman Duncan Keith. He's also up for the Norris Trophy, which is handed out to the league's best defenseman. With the 7 versus 8 seeds in the East, many think the Stanley Cup champ might come from this series. In the first, the Sharks fight first. Jason Demere's shot deflects off Keith's stick and into the top corner. San Jose takes an early lead. But in the 2nd, here's Keith leading the rush, dropping to Patrick Sharp, who beats Evgeny Nabokov to tie things up at 1. We go to the 3rd, same score. Under 7 minutes to go, Dustin Byfuglien lets go with a quick shot, and he gives the Hawks the lead. That would be your game-winning goal. Chicago takes Game 1 today on the road. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final tonight in the city of brotherly love. The Flyers steamrolled the Habs in the 2nd off the faceoff. James Van Riemsdyk takes advantage of some shoddy defense there, and then later in the period, Daniel Briere on the power play gives Philly a 3-0 lead. The Flyers roll at home in the opener. They win it by a final of 6-0. The Sprint Cup Series was at Dover International Speedway today for the running of the Autism Speaks 400. 35 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson's your leader, but on his final pit stop, he's trying to beat Kyle Busch off pit lane. He's nabbed by the NASCAR patrol for speeding. He'd have to come in for a stop-and-go penalty. He went a lap down and was never really a factor, finishing 16th, and then no one had the horsepower to catch Busch, who drives away for his 18th career victory. The Lions continue to go through off-season training activities in Allen Park this week. This is an important time for teams as they get the younger players acclimated to the NFL, but it's also a chance for the team to bring the veterans in with the youngsters so everyone is on the same page. Some of the players tell us they think that things are changing.
Man, I love the attitude in the locker room. You know, it's definitely not complacent like it's been past years. You know, it's a lot of energy in here.
Yeah, I can. You know, I think we know Coach a little bit better. He knows us a little bit better. Our coaching staff is basically the same as it was last year, and you know, guys are getting more comfortable within the system. And you bring in guys like Van den Bosch, who played for, you know, in that similar kind of system, and then you bring in Nate Burleson, who's played in Linehan's system. You got guys with familiarity that can step in and help us out right away.
They're going to need things to change a lot for them to be successful. All right, this is our producer Pavel's last night, so I want to say thanks to him for a fine job. He's moving on to greener pastures.
In Green Bay, which can also be whiter pastures.
You got that. You got that.
Exactly. I got you, Jim. I know where your head's at. And I'm going to give Pavel a goodbye at the end.
Yeah, I'll let you do
Thanks a lot, Jeremy. We're going to be right back with Julie's last look at the weather.
You're watching Fox 47 News at 10.
Coming this week, American Idol is down to the final 3. Congress considers legalizing online gambling, and VP Joe Biden travels to Philly. Fox's Altria Godfrey takes a look at the week ahead.
Monday, Vice President Joe Biden set to speak at a University of Pennsylvania commencement ceremony. Biden will be addressing graduates from the School of Social Policy and Practice. The VP's daughter will be receiving her master's in social work at the ceremony. Tuesday, President Obama taking his Main Street tour to Ohio. The president will be in Youngstown to talk jobs and the economy. Though there are signs the economy is growing, the unemployment rate remains close to 10%. Wednesday, the House Ways and Means Committee is scheduled to have a hearing on internet gambling. Members of the committee have expressed an interest in legalizing and regulating online gambling. The committee will be considering tax proposals related to that possibility. Analysts say the industry could bring in billions of dollars in revenue. Also Wednesday, millions of fans across the country vote off another American Idol. Crystal Bowersox, Lee DeWise, and Casey James are all in the hot seat to be thrown off the show. The 2 finalists will then battle it out to be named top singer. And that's a look at your week ahead. I'm Altria Godfrey, Fox News.
And here's one final check of your 5-day forecast. Rain will be in the forecast for Monday and Tuesday. Will dry out on Wednesday, mostly sunny Thursday and Friday with highs in the mid to upper 70s.
Looks good. Thanks, Julie. And finally tonight, a Japanese couple says I do in the world's first wedding conducted by a robot. The 4-foot-tall iFairy robot led the wedding Sunday in front of 50 guests in Tokyo. Wires connected the robot to a man typing commands into a computer just a few feet away. Unbelievable. The groom is a robotics professor. The couple met through a project making robots. The bride says she wanted the robot to be a part of the most important day of her life. And it's stories like that that have made our lives here so rich, with Pavel Kofman as our producer. And before we go tonight, a thank you and a final farewell to him. He's our weekend producer here on the nights. He is off to Green Bay, as Jeremy said, to be the weekday producer there. So he's off to bigger and better things. And a thank you again and a final farewell to my friend. His desk, I guess I can say, was always clean enough to eat off of. That's a little inside joke for Pavel to send you off to Green Bay. That's going to do it for us on Sunday edition of Fox 47 News at 10. We'll see you right back here next weekend.